Alrighty. Just here whacking together a couple of Thai fisherman's pants out of the same not so breathable fabric, the Dr. Evil suit fabric. Very interesting. Thai fisherman's pants are basically pants that will fit any size. And I'm talking you can fit anything from a teenager through to a pregnant woman. I mean, seriously. They're brilliant like that. You know, they go on a 15-year-old boy and they'll go on a blooming pregnant woman, all the same pair without a problem. They're a real multi-size thing that you won't really see over here in the West, but, you know, I go looking around and, you know, you find out some interesting things if you look hard enough. And, well, I sort of just was looking at some Indian pants that I don't think I'll be wearing, called harem pants. I went looking for parachute pants and somehow got onto hammer pants and then got onto harem pants, which look frickin' ridiculous, and then got onto Thai fisherman's pants. It's funny what happens with these recommended views, and you keep bunny hopping along. And it was just a video showing how to put these on, and it was quite intriguing. You know, they mentioned the variable size, and you could see the way they put them on, you know, they're completely variable size. So I'm just experimenting, making a pair myself, and yeah. But this is what I'm into, finding different bizarre designs that are a super multi-size, one-fits-all sort of a thing, ones that are very easily automatable, where you can just, you know, run huge lengths of stitches in straight lines and stuff like that. And, yeah, but anyway, enough about the pants. Had a guy from Sydney come down to work and trained us in all this stuff, all the proper ways that the company does everything. He's the national, I don't know if you say maintenance manager, but he's like the rejuvenation guy. And holy smoke, he engineers machines that help speed up the rejuvenation process and the you know, repairs process of some of the things that we have. And he showed me, he would have spent more than 2 hours just showing me photos and videos on his phone, just me and the second in charge. Yeah, we asked a lot of questions about a lot of different things and learnt a lot of stuff. And they want to sort of change some of the processes at work, and in case you guys don't know, I got a Cert 3 and would have also had a Cert 4 if I hadn't taken a redundancy package. I got a Cert 3 in what's known as Competitive Systems and Practices, which is about the only actual qualification I've got, and it's based around optimizing efficiency in production lines, redesigning production lines, getting things that aren't production line style and turning it into production line style. So he came out with a bunch of ideas about equipment to, they got really good stuff in Sydney, but they do literally 25-fold what we do in terms of, well, tons of equipment hired out and / or sold, and basically they got a lot of stuff on their hands, and so they got a lot of automation of a lot of this stuff. And you know, I've had a couple of ideas of processes at work that could have been more or less production line-ized, that sort of aren't, that would dramatically speed up. May need you know, more people to work on it, but would speed up the process probably. You know, you might need to have 3 people instead of 2, or 4 people instead of 2, but then you would literally be going 8 times the speed in terms of, you know, volume of work done with one process. But we focus more on the rejuvenation process. and he's got ideas to automate that. And you know, he is basically like a fabricator. I'm not certain if he is an actual engineer, but he makes up equipment with hydraulics on it and everything to, you know, do a lot of these bits and pieces. And he's talking about making us up a roller system so that we can send a lot of this stuff, you know, deal with it as a bulk thing, and then what we're going to do individually, we'll run down a roller system so we can do it one at a time, but we just stand there and then they all go past on the rollers, sort of thing. Not exactly a conveyor belt, but you don't really want a conveyor belt because you've got to, you know, stop it and then do the next one and then move across, do the next one. But instead of us moving, you just keep moving the gear along the rollers. Fairly good ideas, quite good ideas, and a few other insights and bits and bobs, and you know, we're going to get a whole heap more equipment, including, thank God, a proper bench grinder so we can sharpen drill bits. And now I've got to learn how to sharpen drill bits because the way we go through drill bits is freaking terrible. Oh man, we destroy a lot of drill bits. And the fact is, a lot of them could just be resharpened and continue on, but we end up, you know, binning all these blasted drill bits. And it means nothing to throw 4 drill bits away every day, and it's bullshit. You know, we should be doing what he said, which is sharpening them. Now I'm going to have to learn how to sharpen them, but, you know, and I see that in the past, just some of the people I've, you know, had as my sidekicks, they just simply overheat the damn things, trying to force them too hard, but they go blunt. So then they go putting a great heap of weight on them, and then they like overheat the tip, and the tip melts, and you can literally lift up some of these drill bits, and you can see the cutting edge is actually burred over, and the burr's like rolled into what's supposed to be the cutting edge, you know, and it's just a friggin' mess. And then you chuck it in the bin, and there goes another couple of dollars down the, well, in the bin, not down the drain, but literally in the bin. So yeah, rather interesting. I've had another sidekick of the last few weeks, and he's had a personal calamity, I'd have to say. And I don't know if he's going to be back, but he's going to be off for a while. Let's put it like that. And I'd be surprised if he even comes back at all. I tell you what, you know, we have a fair few people that we go through and whatnot, and basically the reason this guy's coming down from Sydney, he was down like 2 weeks before I started, and I've been there for a little bit over a year. So, you know, he's come down basically like a year and a month after he first come down, sort of thing, and after he last come down, rather. And, you know, we've had people who have come, been taught, and then left, and then, you know, it's sort of a bit like the whole Chinese whispers. It's all been learnt third hand and shit like this, and so they sort of miss some of the points and the tips that you should know, sort of thing. And so he's sort of come down and reaffirmed a few things, and there's a couple of things that I was told, don't do it this way, and I said, but that makes sense, and then I find out we should have done it that way all along. Shit. But anyway, this is what happens when you all run on second-hand information and shit like that, and third-hand information in some cases. And yeah, so anyway, it's just the way it is. I don't know if I'm going to get yet another sidekick. I wouldn't be terribly surprised. Things are starting to speed up. Things are really getting slow again. We had a real slow patch at the end of last year, which was abnormal for the time of year, and they have been a bit slow the last, like 2 weeks ago, they're still a bit slow, and now things are really starting to speed up. And so... and there's a whole heap of stuff that we, you know, have just let go, and I was of the understanding, I was taught that stuff's all right and you just let it go. And then he said, well, actually it's not. This is going to be repaired when it gets to this point. And he explained sort of some of the, you know, what point it's got to get to, and you know, what you do. And apparently it's a bit of a, you know, a stitch in time saves nine, where if you repair it now, you'll get a lot more life out of it versus letting it get worse and then having to do a, shall I say, more larger repair, a repair that actually requires you to order in more shit versus make the most of what you've currently got, which may, it basically, just letting it go for another 2 months means you've got to replace things completely versus rejuvenating them with what you've got, and it'll probably last another year. So yeah, now we've got this rejuvenation, well, not pile, it used to be a pile, it's now 4 piles. so and apparently that's what I'll be dealing with tomorrow or next week. We'll be starting rejuvenating this shit before we run out of it, because we have got so much that we've got to rejuvenate that it's sort of cut down on our usable stock that we can send out. So yeah, but anyway, it's one of these things. I'll tell you what, the amount of people that I've trained up, that have then gone ahead and bloomin' left, or had some calamity, or had some disagreement with someone, or some bloomin' argument with someone or whatever, and then, here we go again, Don't be surprised if in the next week or two, I'll be getting another person and we'll be going again. As I said, I should have a little badge on my shirt that just says trainer, because I feel like half the time I'm actually training someone to do something versus just getting on with doing stuff myself. But once people have got there's cases where I can train people for, 2 or 3 days, and it's one of these things that I can sort of come back and check out, check on them every half hour or whatever, and then go off and do what I got to do. But then you sort of get scattered all over the place as a result of that, sort of thing. But it only takes me a couple of days to train someone in some aspects, but then they often come out and say, do I need to do this, or do I need to do that, or I'll come back after half an hour and go, oh shit, you should have sort of done it a little bit different to how you've done it, and yeah, it's one of these things. A fully trained person is very useful, and training a person means they're really not running at full speed while they're learning, because they're learning. And yeah, just the way it all is. But anyway, that's that.